It feels like it's already past the summer of 2024.
Wait a second.
TBD.
2025.
They redo that commercial this winter, and there's just a big slash at the end that says now 2025.
And then they'll cut it out and just be like, coming at some point.
That's when they actually open next year and they realize, oh, it isn't coming 2025. All right.
Yeah. And then the irony, too, that it's the Flash and it's taken forever to get there.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're totally right.
Come on. Like, you can't beat that.
Hey, Mr. Freeze just keeps getting them, all right? So it's frozen. On that note, hello, welcome to episode number 29 of Some Great Adventures, the podcast for old friends who met and worked at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey, chat about our days in the park and the amusement park industry in general. As usual, our podcast is made possible by our friends in the Shared Universe Podcast Studio. We're recording via Facebook Live, so the video version is always available on our Facebook page. The audio version will be up in probably about a week or a few days whenever my lazy ass gets it up. I am Steve Hicks, and my co-hosts are
Scott Loudon,
Chris Peluso,
and Auletti.
All right, boys. Let's just jump right into the recent news. You know, it's funny. The timing of me putting this podcast up almost seems like maybe we have inside information and kind of knew it was time to have a new podcast, you know? I mean, it just feels that way. So exactly. So Six Flags has announced a couple days ago that they are investing more than $1 billion over the next 2 years to enhance the guest experience. New rides, attractions, themed areas, dining upgrades, technology, infrastructure improvements planned across the network of 42 parks in North America. Among the capital investments currently planned for the 2020. Now, here's what's funny. People aren't noticing this. It does not say the 2025 operating season in their press release. It says the 2026 operating season. I don't think a lot of people are catching that. Carowinds will have a record-breaking water ride. Canada's Wonderland will have a record-breaking water attraction. Kings Island will have a new family thrill attraction. Not Soak City, never even heard that one, will receive a water park refresh and aesthetic enhancements. That sounds like maybe that's why I don't know about that one. Yeah, exactly.
New
right. Six Flags Magic Mountain will debut a first of its kind coaster in North America. Six Flags Great America will celebrate its 50th anniversary. I hope it goes better than ours. We'll talk about that later in the podcast. Commemorating events and park enhancements will happen there. Six Flags Great Adventure will unveil a record-breaking launch coaster. Again, this is 2 years from now, not next year. Six Flags Over Texas will unleash a record-breaking dive coaster. Six Flags Mexico will introduce a family thrill boomerang coaster. One of the things I notice is that they don't actually ever tell you what they're going to give you. They're just going to tell you the type they're going to give you, and then that's that. It just kind of sits out there and, you know, nothing else. That is their big announcement on the enhancement on Six Flags in general, based on their, you know, quarterly report and their merger update with Cedar Fair. However, Six Flags itself, Great Adventure, our home park, has made a very big announcement over the last week. Some of which we kind of knew was coming, and some of which is a little bit surprising. So basically, Kingda Ka gone. There's a lot of speculation from people that since they're announcing that in that area, they're going to put, you know, basically what sounds like a bigger and better version of Kingda Ka.
Right.
However, that is not what the park is saying now, which if you directly reach out to them and say, is Kingda Ka being removed or enhanced? They will reply as of the last couple of days that it is being removed for the new ride. So that does not sound like it's being enhanced. And I don't blame people for thinking it's being enhanced because Medusa. I'm sorry, wait, is it Medusa or Bizarro? Bizarro. I don't know what the hell it is, you know? Every year it changes back, you know? So it makes sense that they might have just gone that route, but they're saying no. There is a ride that looks kind of like Cyborg mixed with, I don't know, Looping Starship and everything else called the Twister. That's in that area. That's going away. Green Lantern, sadly, after an entire 2 years of having the worst looking sign that was not painted and whitewashed out, all of its effects taken away, they finally redo it for this year. That was beautiful. The sign looked nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Green Lantern's gone too. That's no longer going to be. They're also removing what is it called? I forget what it's called. They're removing one of the water park attractions as well. It's like Kilimanjaro or some crap like that. You know, it's funny. I don't think any of us, like Chris, I know Andy, you don't go to really Six Flags anymore because you're obviously nowhere near here now. But I don't go to the water park. I have actually never been to the water park once they built it and got rid of Adventure Rivers. I have never been in that new water park at all. You have, but
it was good. But I brought my daughter there when she was young. It was cool.
But do you even go recently?
Not for
years now, right?
Yeah.
That's what I figured. And Chris,
I don't really do water parks in general.
Yeah, I feel like water parks are when you have kids. I feel like or when you're a teen, but as an adult, we don't really do the water parks.
Unless you want to show off your new Speedo or something, you know.
I save that for you, man. I don't show that to the public, all right? Yeah, it's just weird though. I mean, I will point out, no one's ever complained about it, but we really don't talk about water parks in this podcast, only for the fact that we have not really visited it. And honestly, there's very little news ever about the water parks. It's not much happens there. I mean, the news just seems to be like somebody lost their top or somebody pooped in the pool. It doesn't seem to be any difference. Like, that's it, you know? So,
Code Brown. I think the last one
Code Brown, exactly.
I think it was Typhoon Lagoon was the last one I went to like 10 years ago. Now I enjoy the water parks. Some of the people that go to the water parks make you rethink, you know what I mean? Like how clean it is and everything. You can only use so much chlorine. It's always always fun.
Yep, you got that right. One of the other news things that came out is, so when they released their first quarterly report since the merger, if you read into the details of the quarterly report, there was a suggestion, if you're trying to read between the lines, that they're going to close some of the 42 Six Flags parks. That's kind of written out there. So the way they put it is, SFEC also released a long-range plan as part of its third quarter report, which it calls Project Accelerate. Among the project's other core long-range objectives, the company says one is to review the park portfolio over time to optimize the asset base, narrow management's focus, and help reduce net leverage. Now, part of what I do as a living is I work with companies that have to deal with private equity. That language feels very close at home to me because, in other words, what that means is we're probably going to close a bunch of parks because we're going to save money.
Well, if you think about it, there's going to be some overlap now that they've merged. Probably a few parks that are close by to one another, or they don't need.
Exactly what I would be thinking too. Yep. The only true demolition they have announced, which is insane that they're announcing it now, but then I kind of think maybe not anymore based on what's been happening, is the New Orleans park that's been closed since like literally Katrina. It's been closed since August 29th of 2005. It's never reopened. So it's been closed for like 20 freaking years. They are demolishing that. Now that's slated for demolishment, I believe, next year. That one, it's kind of funny. I'm almost surprised that they're even not leaving it there, but I guess they're just not making enough money to make it enhanced. But it's had like almost 100 films and TV shows film in that location because, it's perfect for a derelict park, a derelict area.
They should just turn it into a full-time Frightfest park.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Cool. Can you imagine? I mean, it seems like the only ones that are thinking about doing that is Universal, because that's part of the news we have, because Universal is doing that in Vegas. But it seems
I was going to say in Vegas. Yep.
That would be cool. It would be like a voodoo theme you could work in there with the whole.
It would be awesome. Yeah, that would have been smart. But I have to assume that was a pretty big park. I have to assume there's probably a large cost for them just keeping it there, keeping it, clear from all the people that want to, do the run through the empty park thing, and the insurance alone is probably killing them. So I'm sure they're not making enough money from the few times they rent it out. Over the 20 years, it's been like, if you think about it, even if it's been, let's say it was 100 things filming there over a 20-year period is not a lot of money. So,
right.
Now, funny enough, after they released their quarterly review, everyone started jumping on the bandwagon, and all over social media was like, holy fuck, Six Flags is closing parks. they immediately had a spokesperson release a press release and said, we have no plans to close parks. That was spokesperson Gary Rhodes. Though the company is not closing any parks, they do say that they are clearly going to get rid of the New Orleans park. But as far as everything else goes, it's just under evaluation. Now, the funny thing is, though, they wouldn't close anything next year anyway. So the reality of it is they could say in a press release, we're not going to close parks, but they're only talking about recently. Like in 2 years, they can absolutely close parks, And also, let's be honest, they bullshitted the ass off of everybody for the last 2 months about King Ka, because they were bluntly asked multiple times, are you closing it? And they were told, no, it's not closing. It's not closing. We'll release more information when we have it, but it's not closing. They would say it's not closing. What made them look really bad is clearly they told the staff, because for the 2 months, the staff has been telling everyone that goes up there when asked, yeah, we're closing. This is the last year.
Yeah.
So it's like they didn't look good. To make it look worse, over the last, and this has been kind of fun, a lot of the theme park Facebook groups that focus on the Six Flags parks, they have been posting pictures nonstop of Green Lantern and King Ka, because all of a sudden there's paint marks all over the ground around those two rides. And we all know the paint marks are usually the pre-demolition marks. And so they're all over the place, and they just appeared within the last 2 weeks. So that didn't make them look any better. And then the nail in their coffin was, before their press release, it went public that they got the demo approvals for Green Lantern, Parachute, and apparently I think Skyride might be. I'm not sure if they got the demo for Skyride yet. They did not get the demo like publicly known for Kingdom Ka yet, so that one still stayed up in the air. But Twister, Parachutes, and Green Lantern, they did. So those went public, and then not surprisingly, right after that, they just put the press release out saying blah blah blah. So I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of people pissed off about Kingdom Ka. They're kind of freaking out about it. I thought it was a great ride, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't have the nostalgia for the new rides, but it doesn't bother me when they close anymore.
It goes up and comes down. I mean, it doesn't, and if you're going to build one bigger than it that goes up and comes down, then what the hell do you need two? And then I remember you guys always saying it was down all the time too. So it must be costing them a fortune to keep going.
Actually said that's one of the reasons. That's exactly one of the reasons it's slated for, is because constant mechanical problems that they didn't want to pay for anymore.
So I never even got to ride it.
Really? You never got to ride it at all?
Never.
I think I only rode it twice.
I had no interest.
Actually, no. I was there. The last time I was at the park was the first year it opened. And I was with my daughter, who was way too young to ride it. So we didn't ride it. But that was the last time I've been to Six Flags. Well, it's a great adventure, at least.
Got it. Yeah, I mean,
there was some kind of like memorabilia like available on
oh
eBay or
boy,
maybe
you know what, Andy? I'll jump right to it. All right, I knew you guys were gonna kick out of that.
Awesome.
That shit blew. That's the tip of the iceberg, though. Wait, it gets way better than that. I have more. Hold on. So for those of you who are listening who are Kingdom Ka fans, all right, the one thing I will tell you is that if well, first of all, I've already heard that and I haven't been in the park in about a month and a half now. I did not look for Kingdom Ka merchandise when I was there. Obviously, it's not a coaster that really is like at my heart. Like, to me, if Batman closed, I'd be really pissed off. Like that's a thing for me. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's it. But that might just be because I'm still nostalgic for the rides that were there when we were there, and that's probably the case, to be honest with you. Also, though, to Chris's point, we're so used to, even from our time there, seeing a ride close because a bigger and badder ride gets put up. And like Chris said, why the hell would you have duplicate rides? I mean, it just makes the other one the small version. You know what I mean? Right. So,
and I never went on it, but was there any intricate theming? I didn't get the impression that there was, but was there like Batman was like a spectacle throughout? At least in Great Adventure standpoint.
It wasn't as good as Batman the Ride when it first opened. That theming was amazing, but I mean, it definitely was themed. The queue line was decent. Yeah, it was okay. It was better than most of what.
Right. I don't think it had like fog machines or anything like Batman did, though. It wasn't themed like that.
It's not like someone's going to be missing the whole experience. It was pretty much, hey, this is the biggest, baddest, and fastest. And now they're going to build that again. They're going to build a bigger one. So
yeah, exactly. Oh, that's funny. Our friend Chris Madd just posted, never got to do it due to light rain every time. That shouldn't even be an issue anymore.
That's what I mean.
Like, literally, light rain should not close a coaster down, and that's sad if that is what was closing it down.
Yeah, no, it's like when there's a delay at the Port Authority because of inclement weather. I was like, it's drizzling outside. You got to anticipate that. Like, it's something that's going to happen. Come on.
I do love on that ride though. The only thing I've ever seen is like has a sign. Sometimes the ride won't make it over the hump. And don't worry, that's completely normal.
Does it say that?
Yeah, and it was like
Nice.
It's designed to come back and launch again if that happens. So like it never happened, and I never saw it happen, but it must have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. If they put the sign up, it absolutely happened. Oh, that's
I saw a video. Yeah, I saw a video of it happening. Yeah.
All right, so going back to Andy. Okay. So first of all, we all know that they sell at Six Flags. I think they're really cool. I've never bought one. I probably should because I think they're neat and I like to build models. They have nano coasters, which come in a flat pack. They're 6 inches tall, 4 inches wide in a flat pack. And what they are is basically flat pieces of metal that you pop them out and you build a coaster out of the metal, and it makes a 3D version of the coaster. And it's usually just the train. And they have them for most of Great Adventures coasters. King of Cod definitely had one too. They almost always sell for $37.99 in the park. They're almost always like $40 basically, right? So I saw people in the last 2 weeks start posting on the social media, groups for parks. Does anybody have a King of Cod nano coaster? Like, I'm looking for a new one in box. So immediately I'm like, all right. Obviously, all the merch must be gone. And then I started seeing all the posts where, oh, yeah, there's no merch for King of Cod in the park. It's been stripped clean. It's been bought out by everybody since the rumors have been going out. It's shutting down for the last 2 months, blah, blah, blah. Me, having been a guy who's been selling on eBay for years and years and years, immediately go to eBay. And the first thing I look up is King of Cod nano coaster. And the first thing that pops up is one that is an auction style, not a buy it now. It still had 6 days as of yesterday. And it was at $200.
Wow.
$200 for a $37.99. And it was brand new in the box. Mind you, you could ship that thing for like $4 priority. It is like so tiny and flat. Like you could put it in a flat envelope.
Should have bought some when I was there last.
No shit. But wait, it gets better. It gets better. When we started doing this podcast, I realized that I love the little souvenir maps that they give away for free when you go in. And every year we were there, I used to keep one. And I like the big maps too, but the little souvenir maps are perfect because they usually capture what changed each year. So when we started doing this podcast, I started going on eBay and buying all the years that I didn't have because that would allow me to see what rides came up and went down every year because you could see which new rides are there and which rides aren't being advertised anymore. So it's an easy way to figure it out. So 2005 must have been the year that King of Cod and the Golden Kingdom area got all built up because that's when King of Cod and the Golden Kingdom's all on the front of the brochure. There is somebody selling one of them. I have 3 of them. I don't know how I got 3. I think I was just selling 3 and I paid $1 for them. Because a lot of times when we buy those brochures, people have grabbed handfuls at the park and then they sell them on eBay for like nothing, The 2005 brochure used is at $41 plus $4 shipping with 8 bids and still had 2 days to go as of yesterday. $41. And mind you, generally people snipe at the end, so that will probably go a lot higher. That is for the little piece of paper souvenir map you get for free when you walk in. That's one thing. And what are you really getting out of that? Because that's just a map of the park with King of Cod on the cover. That threw me off a little.
I don't know.
Here's the funner ones. These are for buy it now, so they haven't sold yet. This one has both. Hasn't got a bid on it yet. They sold King of Cod iron patches. You can just put them on your jacket. I guarantee they went for less than freaking $30. $200 plus $4.26 shipping if you bid, or you could buy it now for $280.
Now, if I had a patchmaking business, I'd be like turning out like counterfeits of that thing and
no shit,
online.
No shit. Then it gets even better. The coffee mug, because they have a coffee mug for every goddamn ride in the park. The King of Cod coffee mug. If you want to bid on it, no bids yet. $120 and $8 shipping. That's the starting bid. If you just want to buy it, you don't want to play the bidding game though, only $170 for the coffee mug. $170 for the coffee mug.
Wow.
But wait, the best one, which is the one I know Andy was referring to. The absolute best one ever. The description is genuine King of Cod bamboo leaf from the queue Wow, that's the description. The picture is literally the guy's hand in front of the ride holding a bamboo leaf, which, by the way, looks like a weed. Okay, it's not a piece of bamboo. It is the leaf. It looks like a weed. It should cost nothing to ship. There is clearly no weight to this thing, right? But if you click on the auction, it is $1,000 or best offer. Best offer. But here's what really fucking killed me. Plus $4.56 shipping. This motherfucker didn't even put free shipping for a $1,000 bamboo leaf that looks like a weed that is like 2 inches tall. This one just made me so happy. I'm like, this dude knows how to sell. I hope he sells that shit. That is funny as shit. That's
after the ride's gone, the queue line and the bamboo is still gonna be there.
I guarantee people have seen this auction are probably flocking over there and trying to break bamboo, which is the hardest shit to break in the world.
Not the tiny ones.
The tiny ones are not, but the big ones are impossible without a goddamn machete, you know? So that shit made me die laughing, though. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, that's crazy. But hey, if anybody has Kingdom Come merchandise, now's your time to sell it, because clearly some of it is getting bids in the $50 to $100 range for really easy shit, you know?
I would have thought the opposite. I would have thought, 75% off your Kingdom Come crap, because it's like, it wasn't that iconic of a ride. I don't know. I'm shocked by this,
Apparently there's some love out there for Kingdom Come.
There is a lot. I'm going to tell you, there is a ton. Ace, New Jersey, put up a whole farewell Kingdom Come post that was really nice. A bunch of places put up farewell posts.
Rolling Thunder was there for so long. You know what I mean? Like, that would have made more sense to me.
I agree.
Iconic ride, Scream Machine.
Agree. Yeah, it's even Intamin. I mean, obviously they're going to put it up, but they put the whole thing up. Intamin is like, thank you and farewell Kingdom Come. This ride's been a monumental milestone for us at Intamin. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I mean,
I didn't realize it was a hydraulic launch coaster. I thought it was a magnetic launch. I don't know why.
Well, that hydraulic launch would make more sense on why it wouldn't run in the rain, though. Because if it's magnetic, then it runs off the clamps, right?
I always thought the rain was more of getting pelted in the face, high speed with rain, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that could definitely be another reason. Yeah, that could be another reason. Although, let's be honest. I mean, the second they switched over from, the one type of brake pad to the metal on Mine Train, we didn't give a shit if you were in the rain. In the face, we didn't care,
Yeah, but Mine Train goes 35 miles an hour.
Yeah,
that's true.
128 miles an hour.
Yeah, I give you that. That's true. That's true.
Eye damage alone would be
let's see what else we got here. I'm sorry, so Zumanjaro, the reason I got that confused is because that's the drop of doom. You know why I got that confused? Because the damn thing's never running when I'm there, and that makes sense because it says here it only ran briefly in the spring of this year and has not run since. So I've never got to ride that goddamn thing because it's never fucking running when I'm there.
To be honest, though, I don't know if I would ride that.
I would have ran it, but I would have rode it, but it's just never there. So I actually forgot what it was because it's never run. So
is that going away too? Since that's
going away. Yeah. So
it's actually mounted to Kingdom Come.
That's exactly it. That's what they
say.
They say it was installed upon the structural tower of Kingdom Come and premiered in 2014. It with world records for drop speed and height. So that's going away too. Green Lantern's definitely going away. Twister is the little top spin ride that what the hell was there before that?
That was like the joustabout.
That's it. Thank you. And it basically is like a super joustabout when you kind of look at it. Kind of.
Now the Green Lantern mug, that's got the 75% off on it, I think.
Yeah, I bet.
You don't tell me that as a superhero fan, I'd buy that before the Kingdom Come one.
To be honest, I agree. That makes more sense because if you're a Green Lantern fan of the superhero, I'm confused by Kingdom Come, especially the bamboo. Isn't that going to rock?
Because people love that ride as a ride. That's literally everybody I've seen that posts anything about it says, I love the experience of the ride, smooth, fast, really good.
I survived Kingdom Come, some shit like that, but a piece of bamboo, come on. Come on, you know what I mean? It's not the haunted mansion here.
If you're gonna tell me to buy just a black Kingdom Come mug with a picture of Kingdom Come coaster on it, I'm like, I'm not paying 170 for that. You're gonna give me the Power Lantern mug from the Green Lantern ride? I'm not gonna buy that. not $170, but I'm gonna buy it. Yeah.
Right. Come on.
I'm thinking the Skyride memorabilia should be worth the most. First of all, there is none. There's no T-shirts that say Skyride on them.
You are correct. You are correct.
I do have some cable car door keys that we could sell.
Yes.
Those are pretty easy to make.
All right, let's jump over to
These were used though.
Out of curiosity, how many keys do you have?
2.
I have 2. One old and one was a brand new one that they had just brought out at the end of the year. So basically went into the bag and went in storage. And I was like, nope, I want a new and an old. So when I left, I got one old,
I never
one
took
new.
any. No, it never occurred to me. I was just like,
Which is bizarre because you were a lead.
Yeah.
That was your ride,
like,
man.
I mean, I was like, I have like back issues. That's my memory.
So your nostalgia for that ride isn't as fun as our nostalgia for that ride. I get it. I get it.
It's like my herniated disc in the L4 is my
It's true. It's true. So, all right, Skyride. Let's see. We already went through all this on the last episode. I'll give a really quick recap for those who don't know much about the Skyride, which if you don't, you have not gone to this park. I don't know why you listen to this podcast, but opened originally in 1974. The saddest thing about it is the only remaining double cable Von Roll ropeway system. It was a hybrid of 2 former ones. Adapted mechanics and an original fleet of cars from the 1964 to 65 New York's World Fair, which also breaks my heart because it's like something that is not just nostalgia for us, it's nostalgia for other big events that happened. Like, so that kind of sucks. Since the 1980s and during various periods, cabins from Marriott's Great America in Illinois, Six Flags Over Mid-America or Georgia, they've all run on our Skyway, and it is going away. What really bums us out the most about it is that, well, first of all, there's a lot of stuff that bums us about it because that's a lot of us have really good memories of that ride. So that kind of bums us out a little bit. The other things that bum us out are, well, first of all, they did a massive refurbishing of almost everything on that ride over the last 3 years, which had to cost them a pretty significant amount of money. But apparently, and we sort of knew this, well, we heard hints of it, but we didn't know if it was true or not. They just didn't do anything with the towers. They just left the fucking towers alone and did no maintenance on the goddamn towers. So obviously without maintenance on the towers were rusting. And the towers are not cheap to replace, being how big and how large they are and how there's only a couple places that still have them. The sad part is they do have towers available that they could still get, but they are probably super freaking expensive. And, I'm not going to shit on the park when it comes to expenses, because the one thing I do understand, and I think some people do and some people don't, and I think the general public doesn't, is they were just bought out. And when you get bought out, what happens in your first year is funding gets held. Funding gets frozen. So all these great things you talk about doing that were before the buyout all kind of fall and get pended because all the money has to be figured out amongst all the 2 entities that are now merging. And so I have a feeling that the pre-buyout money was all about, let's get as much refurbished as we can now, and then we'll deal with the towers. And then once the buyout happened, they were like, we're not paying for those towers. That's just a lot of money. And that's the end of it. It sucks. Our podcast has become friends with Robbie Von Roll. And, obviously his family, historical for creating this type of ride. And, I know he's super freaking bummed and I'm super freaking bummed and you guys are super bummed about it. However, what I will say is that, Andy, you're a little bit wrong, because for Christmas for you guys, you each are getting something a little special.
A piece of the Skyride?
You're each getting a Skyride card. The mini Skyride card. I know. So you guys probably don't remember this, but I did talk about it during the Skyride episode. You can find Robbie Von Roll and the Von Rolls have a Facebook page, okay? And it talks all about the cable cars and everything that they've built. But they have another page where you can buy custom-made cars that they built, and you can actually make your own little cable car. Cool. And what I did is they come in red and blue. So Andy, me and you are 120. Rick, Chris, you are 150, and Scott, you are 140.
I love it.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
I gave you one. You know, it's funny. I knew Scott was going to say that, and you know why I didn't? Because you don't have a fucking goddamn thing in there. Okay, you're the Skyride lead in 140, so it made sense to give you 140, dude.
Got a point.
Chris was never a Skyride lead, and he never really worked the ride. So 150 is Chris.
When I was Typhoon lead, I would go over to the cables and do breaks and work shifts sometimes. But I
just pretend that never happened. That's just so silly to think of you working at Typhoon. That is a waste of talent right there, my friend.
Typhoon. Typhoon. Dude, that's so nice. Thank you. I'm buying you that fucking bamboo.
You started at the Typhoon, and you became like supervisor, the fastest of anybody I've ever seen in the park. So that's that going for you.
True. I will say I don't think it will do anything at this point because once a corporate decision is made, we know they very, very rarely ever go back on anything, especially when it's part of a merger. However, there has been a change.org like prevent Six Flags from demolishing a Skyride out there forever. I mean, like long time ago, last time I checked when it got put up, it had like 401 signatures. I'm sure it had a ton more after that. So I mean, that's still possible. But
how do you get it designated as like a historical place? You know.
So I don't know. I wish they could. I mean, it feels like they should be able to. But I will tell you the one thing that bums me out the most. This is my biggest fear about this. So okay, they get rid of the Skyride now. So they've already got rid of the TP. They already got rid of Constanoga Wagon. Yes, they refurbished Log Flume, but okay, whatever. You know, they're getting rid of the arena. I mean, the stage is gone, and it's just a matter of time before they take away the walls and the stadium seating so that they can build something there.
Right.
Nothing from the other team. And you get where I'm going. Nothing from the other side where Ultra Twister Rolling Thunder was. None of that's even really Western anymore at this time. It's kind of the Golden Kingdom crap. It's not Western at all. Western's really just the fort area now. So God forbid they get rid of Mine Train. They decide Mine Train is just old and not needed. And I could see them doing that because I'm going to be blunt with you. I love that fucking ride. But every time we go on it, and I make a point of going on every time there, it beats the shit out of me. It is a hard ride to go on now. It's not easy on your back. And I could say it's because I'm old, but it's not because I'm old. It's a rougher ride. Yeah.
I wonder if it comes down to maintenance costs and upkeep, you know.
Well, that's why they get rid of most rides. And I think that's why Mine Train's lasted because it's probably pretty easy to maintain it. But I bet you the fort's not.
Yeah.
I bet you that fort. And if you get rid of the Sky Ride, then seriously, all you got is the Mine Train going. So the second they get rid of the Mine Train, they're going to take that fort out, and then that's it. Western's gone.
You don't even need all of that's behind Andy there anymore with, you know, the Skyride's gone.
None of it's there.
There's only so much that, you know, the Mine Train needs. And so it's like...
That's my point.
The fort could go the way of the big teepee, and that would be a shame because that was really cool. Like that, you know, the whole setup.
Well, it's the end of, like, I'll be honest with you, Andy, that might be the end of this podcast. You take Western away, these fuckers ain't winning. I'm done. I'm done, man. I don't want to hear the shit. I don't want to hear the shit. I'm just going to never give another episode so they can't talk their shit. You know?
So, like, what's the point of even going there anymore?
Ride's still there, Batman. Like, that's, you know, his claim to fame. Like, and Skyride's gone now, so.
Oh, man,
you know.
Steve, what if they theme it Gotham City? The log would become some kind of like sewer pipe thing.
Sewage plant, and those would be turds going through. Like,
I'm just going to be I'm going to be quite honest with you. Right above where we're doing this are like 100 little Batman figures. I'm okay with that. You might have given the one reason I'd be okay with it. All right, give me all the Batman stuff. All right.
Speaking of, I don't think we've had a podcast since then, but I went when Log Flume was open. Did we talk about this? And they were only running like 9 boats. Like I actually waited in line for an hour to get on that thing. It was a short queue line, and it was just like 9 boats going. It was ridiculous.
I kind of remember going in the middle of the summer 2 years ago before it shut down for the year. And I remember in the middle of the summer, they were only running maybe 10 or 11 boats. I don't know how many boats they have left. Honestly, it feels like that is a problem with the units, and they don't have a ton. And you would think with the refurbishment, that would have been one of the first things they did, but it seems like they may not have.
I mean, they don't.
Also, let's be honest, they opened it at the end of the season. They probably figured, who gives a shit? We're only going to open it for like 2 weekends, and we're shutting it down anyway for the winter, so who cares?
They don't put an emphasis on throughput anymore.
They do not. They do not at all. That's been a major complaint from a lot of
Yeah,
people.
they don't even try.
Dude, when we were there, that's all it was about. Like how many people you can get through in an hour.
That was it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Which brings up the point, like in the next 2 years, they want to spend $1 billion. What would be the point if the parks are still only half staffed?
Correct. But
yeah.
So what's funny though is if you think about it, I wonder if I don't know because I don't know enough about the other parks, and I really don't want to start following 1,000 different park groups to see what's going on with them. But like Six Flags, they're trying whatever they can to mitigate the staffing issues by just giving short hours. And like the next thing we're going to talk about was the 50th good or bad? And I got to be quite honest with you. I mean, my overall opinion is, I'll just spoiler alert, was it not good. Like they did not live up to any of the 50th hype, in my opinion. And we'll go through all the stuff, but it just feels like they can't keep stuff open. So what they did this last year is they willy-nilly changed the times.
Yeah.
Like there are many days where they were supposed to be open to 10 and then they switched it completely to 9. So they only had to do 2 shifts. And then they put up the signage where all of Western has signs where it says our rides don't even open until 11.
Yeah. Like Medusa was like 12 to 8.
Noon.
So all you need is a swing shift.
So they've actually set it up in such a way that they only have to staff half the park, even for the morning shift, and the other half for swing shift. And then that's it. So it's like they're already cutting everything back anyway because they can't afford the people. I wonder if every park is going through this or if this is just a Six Flags like Great Adventure issue. I would love to know that, but we'll never find it out. But unfortunately for us, Andy, just so you know, as always, once Fright Fest closes, I'm not sure you can't read this, but Western's closed. They board it. You haven't seen it. What they do is they actually bring large ass just walls and they just close it off. So from from where like little La Cantina was, where you could split and go over to Rolling Thunder or go to Log Flume, that whole thing just gets walled the fuck off, and Western's just shut down for the rest of the year.
At the beginning of Fright Fest, they do that?
End of Fright Fest.
Okay,
End of Fright Fest. No, as soon as Fright Fest is over, they basically shut off Western. And
don't they shut down after that anyway, though?
They open back up for Holiday in the Park.
Oh, so it's closed.
But it's never open for Holiday in the Park. It's Holiday in the Park, though, they shortened the whole park. But they always close Western now. It's like never open during that time. One of the other things that made me laugh is that people were trying to request refunds for seasons passes because if you bought like an all park pass or even worse, you only bought a Six Flags pass, Great Adventure pass, you're really getting fucked because you bought a very expensive pass for next year and you're getting one ride that's supposed to have opened this year and losing 5 rides. Not exactly a bang for your buck. So a lot of people were pissed. And so they called and they requested refunds. And Six Flags' response was, no refunds are being given. Thank you. That's it. We're not doing that. So.
And that's another thing I was thinking, in our intro, when you're talking about all the new things they're talking about doing with this $1 billion. These aren't all new rides. They're just moving some of these rides around, too.
Bingo. Yep. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Like, where's King Decog going?
Too. It's not all building rides. Like Scott, you pointed out. Like $1 billion spread out over all these parks. I don't know. It sounds it's a little Dr. Evil.
Yeah, a little less than 50 million a park, but I mean, some parks are small; they won't get anything.
Some may close. I think I looked it up, but I had an idea already. I think Avatar was Toy Story Land was 250 million alone. Avatar was 500 million alone, and Galaxy's Edge was 1 billion all by itself. So it's not that
and if you really think about it,
it's really not that much.
The Avatar movies are like up and down because of how long it takes for them to come out. Honestly, the only thing out of there and Pixar has been on like a losing streak. The only thing they make money off of now is when they keep on trying to pull a Toy Story out of their ass. The only one out of everything you just said that makes absolute sense is Star Wars will always make money. Just period. Star Wars will always.
As far as like how much that $1 billion is in comparison to the mega parks. It's nothing. It's
exactly.
It's like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
I think their latest Disney is 60 billion over 10 years. Which we already know that this 1 billion is not for just next year. It's
right.
Yeah.
It's nuts, man. All right, let's jump into the 50th. And again, I hate when it sounds like we're a podcast that shits on a park we love because that's not what we're trying to do. We just want anyone that listens to understand we just like to present facts And the facts are the facts, man. You know, like you promise us this and you don't deliver. We're not going to be like, like, no, you fucked up and you didn't deliver it. And that's that, you know, like, because at the end of the day, we don't work there anymore. So we have no reason to defend them really, except out of nostalgia. We're now the people spending money on seasons passes like everybody else. So we have our rights to be pissed off like everybody else when we're not getting something, you know? All right. So first thing they promised, which was, some of the stuff was not so much the 50th. Some of it was more like an enhancement, but it's all meant to be part of the 50th and a refurbishment for this year of that park. It's a great adventure. Dream Street Pathway with the bricks. All right. They did it. They succeeded.
That was my favorite, that they opened up the throughway from the Ferris wheel right through the 4 tents down to Western. That was like the one thing on the 50th that I actually thought that they did great, because it probably was like that when the park opened and they closed it off. Yeah. To push traffic through the boardwalk area. But it just was so nice to have that straight shot down. It was like, wow, this is how it should have always been. Yeah, I agree. I liked it. I had so much fun when we were there with Sylvester finding our brick. It was so fucking silly and fun, but we finally found it and it was like fun as hell. Like that was cool. The only negative I'll say is that I truly feel like in 3 years they're going to remove those bricks. And I'm going to be so pissed because they were not cheap. I'm going to be so mad. However, we all have a replica. We all got a replica brick. So even if they remove it, we still have our brick, at least ourselves. So
I think we got a good shot at them staying. The shape they're in, that I think could be, you know, I could see.
That's why I say 3 years.
Yeah.
That's why I say 3 years.
Oh, see, I just saw them leaving them. You know? Or, you know. Yeah, I just see them leaving them.
They could just leave them out of laziness because it's easier than replacing the bricks, right? But if they start wearing and looking like absolute shit, and you can't read any of the bricks, and all the people that bought start complaining, then their solution's not going to be to give you a new brick. Their solution's going to be to just remove the goddamn bricks.
When you come in, man, they're going to hand out sidewalk chalk so you can go up.
Good for the day. Put your name.
Free. It's free.
Oh, yeah. Are you riding the log flume? Here's a pack of gum. You can do that, too. Only old people will understand that joke. So. No, the gum wall was awesome. Come on, man. You know you like cleaning that. All right. They did do some restaurant upgrades. I love that Best of the West reopened. We actually had a nice lunch there. That was actually good. It was so stupid having that entire restaurant, which is so well themed as a VIP lounge. Like, I mean, kind of silly. So that was nice. I don't know. They claim they did a whole bunch of signature beverage and food options. I will say this. I wish I drank a lot, and I don't. Like, I'm not a heavy drinker. Like, me and Scott will always have a drink while we're doing this podcast. Otherwise, I might have a drink when I go out with friends for dinner, and that's it. I'm not a drinker. But I will say when I go there, their cocktails sound amazing. Every time I go there, I'm like, I want to try that one. I want to try that one. I want to try that one. And we always try one because, you know, they're $20 a cocktail, you know. But they have fun cocktails with always like special blinky cups and all kinds of shit like that. They're usually pretty good, actually, when you get them. It's not like they're crap. Like, they actually taste pretty good. I will say a lot of them, though, if you're diabetic, will kill you after one cocktail because they are so sugary. It's not funny. But they do a lot of mixes. That's kind of cool. I do like that they opened up a couple of like roller coaster coffee places that are like, they have coffee places now, which is kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, fucking expensive though. Like, as a coffee drinker, I look and I'm like, why am I paying $9.50 for a cup of coffee? Yeah, like I could get it for a latte, but not a cup of coffee. Like, that's
Disney, I Universal all the time. I was in shock, man. I just go there, take my money, you know, like, so I you know, I'm used to it. That $8 and change Powerade, that was like, I went, wait, are you sure?
I'll give you a better one. When we went for Frightfest Oktoberfest, right? We actually walked around before I was like, all right, they had Oktoberfest going on, but it was so much smaller than last time. They didn't have the food trucks, they didn't have anything.
Big thumbs down on that one.
It was like they condensed the Oktoberfest just into like 2 buildings and they got rid of all the good stuff. Now, it might have been because we were there the first weekend and we were there on a Friday.
Maybe.
So they just may not. I'm assuming on a Saturday they brought them in and they went back to doing what they did. I'm not going to hold that against them because I don't know. I didn't double check. However, we did go and look at a couple of regular places that were supposed to be enhanced food options, right? Because I was like, and now, mind you, I'm pescatarian. So I'll eat fish and I'll eat vegetables. I just don't eat meat. Okay, that sucks when you go to an amusement park because there's not a lot of options unless you're happy to eat French fries and onion rings. Like that's really all it comes down to. But I'll eat pizza, all right, because I will eat cheese. So we go into the Mama Flora's Cantina thingy, which is supposed to have the this new pizza offerings, blah blah blah. Ready? Okay, let's play a game, Chris. So you go to a lot of amusement parks. You usually know the prices right now. You're probably on a better scale than all the rest of us here. How much do you think for a cheese pizza that came with 4 little garlic knots? Nothing else, no drink.
Like a personal.
No, 1 slice cheese pizza with 4 little garlic knots.
Oh, $7, $8, something like that.
$16.49 in tax.
Yeah, see at Disney, man, you go to Epcot and you go to the window outside there and get a beautiful piece of like Sicilian pepperoni for less than that. I want to say it's like $9, and that's for that. You go to like Razzo Rizzo's or whatever it is in Hollywood, it's like $8. It's a piece of shit piece of pizza. Like give me a break.
I know. Add pepperoni on, and it goes up to $17.50.
Wow.
Another $1 for some pepperoni on it, man. $17.50 for 1 slice of pizza, and the slices aren't tiny, but they're not big hand pizza from Seaside. You know what I mean? They are not big enough to be $17 fucking dollars, man. So that kind of annoyed me, and then we ended up going back to the goddamn Oktoberfest area because again, I didn't have limited options, and I ate the same thing I ate last time: potato pancakes. So, but they were good. What are they gonna do? Those are good. I like the potato pancakes. So
yeah, I just looked it up. $8.50 for that Epcot pepperoni slice. Like you gotta be kidding me. That was damn good.
That's a park I would also expect to gouge me more.
Yes, honestly, because you're in the Italy section, and we got a bunch of Italians to make it. No, $8.50, and it's a beautiful, nice slice too. Really good stuff.
Yeah, a little disappointing, man. So I'm going to give them an up on the food, on the beverage options, and a down on the food options. I think they kind of screwed up there a lot. I think they just need to reprice everything. It's a little ridiculous. Then updated toll plaza and parking areas. Fuck you. They said speedy parking allows registered guests to breeze through the toll plaza before parking a newly designated blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. That is the worst run speedy thing I've ever seen in my life because they mark them as speedy, but anyone can go into any goddamn row. Yes. So everybody that's buying parking has to go into speedy ones too, and you don't breeze through shit. You wait for them to get checked in because they manually have to check you in,
and then you get through. And you don't.
I know, well, because you're allowed. The only way that works is if you actually designate at least 3 or 2, maybe even 1 fucking row. As it's like it works for Easy Pass. Why you're trying to duplicate Easy Pass and don't understand how Easy Pass works?
The problem is though that the guests will go in that line regardless, and then what are you gonna do once you're in there and like cars are behind you? You can't get out.
No, you're fucked. You're fucked. Well,
they gotta have like walled off, like where it starts about a quarter mile back where you enter the speedy zone. So like big sign says, do not come in this friggin' lane unless you paid for the speed part. But then you get through that friggin' thing and you pay for the VIP parking. You got no idea where to go. I used the Force. I was I paid for a good parking. I'm going to get as close as I can. I was like, oh, here it is. But there was no sign to tell me to do it. It was real.
Wait. Here's a pro tip that I taught myself. Okay. I have the Diamond Pass, but technically I'm not supposed to get and I have the speedy parking, but technically I'm not supposed to get the elite parking, which is the parking right next to very, very front gate where that entrance used to be to the Oktoberfest, because that's got its own specialized parking. It's called elite parking. You have to go through the back way, almost as if you're going through the employee entrance to get around to it. And you pass 3 fucking people. Okay, 3 GA employees that are supposed to be checking something. I don't know what. I guess checking if you have the right pass, right? Yeah. But I got so pissed at the speedy parking, okay, because to your point, it does say speedy parking, stay to the right. And then when you get there, the lanes say speedy parking or regular. Everyone. So it's like stupidest shit in the world. Why did I even go to the right? I could have maybe got a faster one over here.
My guess is because they don't have it walled off, and they were probably getting crushed by people all going to it anyway, regardless. And it was just like, F this.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So this is what I did. I just said, fuck that, I'm elite parking. And I went to it the last time we went to Frightfest. And guess what? All those guys just went like this. Every guy. Nobody checked anything. Nobody looked at anything. And I was literally in the very front fucking row, front spot. As soon as I came out of the park, I could see my car. I was like, yeah, buddy. So pro tip, don't pay attention to whatever they say. Just go where you want to go because nobody checks shit anyway, so who gives a crap, you know? Why get screwed? That's how I look at it. All right, other thing that they were doing. All right, this had a whole bunch of a lot of people bitched about this, but the the Wild Safari and the Savannah. So Wild Safari, I mean, I guess it was fine. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. They lost me as a safari goer because I can't drive my own car. I really don't want to have to go to the safari area, park, get on a tour bus with other people. I don't want to do any of that. That's where I go. I've done the safari a billion times, and this is a hassle, and I don't want to do it. I just want to be in my own car. I don't want to be with other people. Like, to me, that's my own thing, you know? So, yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I guess that's a win for them, but a fail for me because as a person that does not want to be on a tour bus and have to deal with all that, you know. But also, I don't think you can. I think for a while you couldn't do it inside the park anyway. You had to go outside and do it in the safari area. So I guess that's sort of a failure too for them. The Savannah's a little weird. So if you go into Savannah, it's technically you have to do 2 nights, 3 days. You get booted out the third day after breakfast. You're basically getting breakfast from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then you're out. Your first day you check in. So really your first day is also kind of a waste. You can use it to go to the park, but if you're just going for the Savannah and not the park, you're kind of screwed because your check-in's at 4 p.m.
Right.
So they do give you, they give you breakfast is covered, lunch and dinner is not. They do give you private tours, but you only get one on day 2. Okay. You could do a VIP tour, but you have to pay for that. And my understanding from one of the reviews, somebody said is, I didn't look at the price, but he said it was $350 for 2 people. But I'm going to read his review because it does break it down. This is what it comes down to. I've seen about 5 different people that actually went post their reviews. Not one was unhappy with it. They were unhappy with some of the things in it, but not the actual experience. So they gave pros and cons, and every one of them made it very fair, and it actually sounded pretty good, exactly what I would expect. Okay, so the first thing that's a problem is as of August, only half of the units that they were supposed to have were even done, but they were fully booked for almost a whole year. But they were fully booked because they didn't have most of the units open anyway. So that's like a plus and a negative. As of around the same time frame, end of August, okay, this one guy posts this review of here, and at that time, a lot of stuff still wasn't open. Now, as of August, which is only like, a couple months ago, you would think most of your stuff that you've promised is going to be open. It's not. So here's what the guy says, and this guy's name is he posted on the Great Adventure Connoisseurs Facebook. It's a public group, and it's specific to Great Adventure. And this is his name is Jay Lichtenstein. This is his Savannah Sunset review. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he basically says we stayed there for 2 nights during the last week of August, so that's not that long ago. All right, there is good and bad. The tents are luxurious, but there's no room service to clean or make beds. You can, however, request fresh towels and sheets. And he says, I'm not holding this against them. Many hotels take this approach in this model as well. And he's absolutely right. They do. When I travel for work, that's the common thing now. He said, the view from the veranda was amazing. Always different animals passing by, including large herds. Every morning at 9:30, there's a giraffe feeding. Then at 10, an extended tour of the safari on the safari trucks. We were the only ones on the truck, so we had a private tour. And he said, so that was really cool. Even though we've been through the safari many times over the years because they're locals, he said we opted for the VIP tours, which was $360 for both of us. This is how it worked. At 11:30 a.m., the VIP tour covered the Predators, which was close-up of tigers, lions, and bears. The VIP tour is in an air-conditioned Land Rover, very comfortable, very nice, very private. At 1:30, we go to the Giants, where we have up-close encounters with elephants and rhinos, and this included behind the scenes of the animal enclosures, so kind of like what we used to experience during Work Crew, which is pretty cool. He said, now the bad. Other than the s'mores at 7:30, there is absolutely nothing else to do at the resort. The restaurant's not open yet, so it's basically room service only. The promise of outdoor movies and activities does not exist yet. That's as of basically September 1st. So that means that's never happening for this entire year. That's a massively expensive thing to be paying for, to not get something that's as simple as movie night. I don't know why they wouldn't have that yet. That's kind of ridiculous. He says, once the sun sets, the resort does not have great lighting. It's very dark. So while we walked around it, because you're allowed to, we tripped many times. You have to be careful. Now, here's an interesting thing. The on-site restaurant was excellent, but with a limited menu, as the kitchen has not actually been built yet. All cooking was done in an external cooking trailer. But he goes on to say, I had pineapple chicken served in a hollow half pineapple over rice and beans. My wife had salmon with shrimp, mashed potatoes, and veggies. Lunch, we had the surf and turf burger. It was a burger topped with tons of chunks of lobster tail. Everything was absolutely excellent. They had an assortment of appetizers. They were all available. We tried a ton of them. They were all exceptional. The average cost of dinner per person would be about $38 to $50. Lunch about $20. Breakfast is included in your cost. However, dinner and stuff is not. So that would have actually been out of our pocket. However, because resort construction was still going on and because they didn't have an actual kitchen yet, all meals were free. And a $200 resort fee was also waived for us. So for the 2-night stay, our meals would have been around $250 to $300 we were charged, and we weren't charged anything. All our meals were free.
That's good.
So I give Six Flags a lot of credit for that. So while they didn't live up to having everything, it sounds like what they did have was fantastic. And it sounds like it was well worth the cost. Now he says, I wouldn't do the VIP tour again next year. We definitely want to do it again. He goes, I would not do the VIP tour because for that much money, I don't feel like I got enough bang for my buck. That was any different than if I just went on a regular tour. But he said he said they do say they're trying to not only have everything open by next year, but they also plan on building a pool. So it does feel more like a resort. He said, if I had kids and I went with kids, it'd be fantastic when you couple it with the fact that you get the free passes to all the parks. You get a multi-park pass, so you can go into Hurricane Harbor, whatever you want to do. So that's pretty goddamn good. But he says, otherwise, he's like, we loved it. All the other reviews I read were pretty much the same. And what cracks me up is that the second someone posts some, there's like 150 negatives. You're a fucking idiot for paying all that money and blah, 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 blah. This is my opinion of that. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Because you're the same goddamn people that said the Star Wars Disney Galaxy Hotel was the stupidest goddamn thing in the world. And yes, it was expensive as shit. My family went to it. And to this day, we don't think we're ever going to go on a better family-themed vacation in our lives. That was so good. I had tears coming out of my eyes on the last night. And the other uncle in our family actually cried the first day we were there when we got through it. Nice. So that's an experience that you could say it was way too expensive, but you didn't go on it, so you don't fucking know. And if you were a Star Wars fan, that was like just Star Wars gasm the whole goddamn time you're there. From beginning to end, it was so immersive. It was insane.
Just an example of that. Did you do the lightsaber experience?
Yeah, I did everything.
Yeah, right?
The lightsaber training. I did it all, man.
To back you what you're saying there too. A lot of people say that's ridiculous. Everything got a little choked up when Yoda came out. I don't want to have any spoilers, but I got a little choked up when Yoda came out. It was so good. It was so good.
Yeah, dude. I mean, look, couple that experience with going to Galaxy's Edge, which was part of it, and it is a Star Wars nerd's dream. It was the best thing, and it sucks I can never do it again, but it's a memory I'm never going to forget. So when I look at things like the Savannah, where people that are actually paying the money and going are not shitting on it, I'm not going to shit on it either, because you know what? I love animals, and guess what I'm doing next weekend? My annual trip to a wolf preserve that has a B&B on it in Pennsylvania. I do it every year at this time because my job sucks when it comes to this time of the year, and that's my de-stressor. 3 days of hearing 100 wolves howl outside my room is amazing, and I love it. To me, that's what the Savannah probably is like too. And as a former GA person who used to feed those fucking animals during work crew, I would love to do that. I'm probably going to do it next year. Yeah. I'm probably going to surprise my lady and book it, because I really want to experience it myself. But that's a perfect example where I go, did the park, going back to the 50th, did they win or did they lose on this one? I mean, I feel like yes, they lost in the manner that they didn't get stuff built. But again, I'm not holding building stuff against them because I have a feeling that everything was on hold because of funding. That's how I feel. I mean, I don't know if you guys think any differently because I think I think the stall in most of the stuff this year is because they just didn't have the money. Like they probably just had everything frozen because of the merger, and that's that. So I'm not going to hold building stuff held up against them, even though they shouldn't have promised it. That never.
They do it again next year, and they have a laundry list of things that they're going to say are going to be there, and they're not there. All right, maybe you call foul then. But yeah, shit happens when a merger. Like you said, things probably got held up most likely.
Yeah. So
and they made right by a lot of it. I mean, those dinners being free, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, going back to Savannah,
park.
Nobody that's actually been there and wrote a review publicly that I have read has said it sucked. Not a single person. So to me, I'm like, that's a win. If everyone that's paying the expensive money has enjoyed it, it's a win. You know what I mean?
If it was
when.
Yeah, if it were Jeff Goldblum style, he's like, well, there are going to be some dinosaurs on this tour. Like, there were no animals. That would be come on. You promised me a safari. There's no animals. All right, there was no movies. Go to the park. You know what I mean? You can go to the park, but they had the animals. They had the food, so that's pretty good. And they made right by it, too.
Exactly. So that one, I don't know. I'll give them a plus and a minus on that one. All right, The Flash. That's a minus. I mean, it's a minus. And you know what sucks even more is that it's running. It's running now. It's been running for 3 weeks. People have been posting video of it running at night. They've been test running it for 3 weeks. So it will be pretty much fully functional, it looks like, and ready to put people in probably even by the end of the year. But we're not going to get going until next year. On the plus side, it should be open for opening of next year. There's no reason not. If the testing's been going as good as the videos look, it should be open. So, okay. I'm not going to – I mean, it's a negative. You can't say it's a plus no matter what. Don't promise a new ride and give us nothing. I mean, that kind of sucks. Refurbishment of Roaring Rapids, all they did was give it back its name. And it didn't open for half the year. That's not a plus. I'm sorry. During the hottest part of the season, that ride was not open. That's a major negative.
That's
and
a big miss.
Couple it with the only other really big water ride in that park right now, unless you go to Hurricane Harbor, is the Log Flume, and it didn't fucking open until the end of the year, right when it's ready to weatherize it. Yeah, opening that in September when they're going to weatherize it in October, that's a big miss. Yeah. Fucking huge miss. There's no way to say that's good. Big Wheel, big miss. Big Wheel was closed the whole goddamn year, and even when it finally opened, the LED lights still weren't working. So when you looked at it at night, you wouldn't even know it was there. It was so dark.
They ride, right?
Oh, it wasn't on at all.
There's black strips on it, which you would assume are the LED strips, but they weren't running. They weren't on. They didn't work. So I don't know if they just don't have them lit right. I don't know what the deal is yet, but
they did have 4 motors. Again, they used to for years and years. They only had 3 motors.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, well, here's the thing. Okay, Log Flume looks beautiful, and you rode it. And what's it look like when you're on the top?
Oh, it was definitely like pristine, like brand new, and they even had the metal catwalks instead of the wood that you guys always used to bitch about.
We didn't bitch. We were just waiting for someone to go through it. It made us laugh.
Yeah, that, and I rode the Roaring Rapids this year, and that too was like, both times because it opened so late. By the time I got on it, the water was still crystal clear, and so it was fine. I had no problems with that.
I mean, why that took so long to open, I just don't understand. That just made no sense to me. I mean, they weren't refurbishing the Rapids.
Yeah, what are you doing?
They're just changing the goddamn name back. Like, I don't get that one. I don't know what was up with that one. That's a fail too. Let's see. What else do they have? Let's see. Okay, here's a rumor. If you look at all the Holiday in a Park advertisement that's coming out right now, it no longer says Six Flags Resort. It goes back to saying the regular old name. So the rumor is that because they never actually built the hotel, and you really can't count the Savannah as a resort, even though they call it a resort, they're removing the resort name for now. I don't know if that's true or not, but it does look that way from all the stuff being put out there. I'm going to be honest with you, though. Any place that can close for weather is not a resort. I don't give a fuck what they say. If the hotel is not on grounds, and you get kicked out of that park, you're not a resort. That's how I feel. I'm sorry. I just feel that way. You can't call yourself a resort, Like, if the ride's closed and they said, go over to the pool or go back to your room or go to dinner, that's fine. But you don't get that here. You get the boot. So
you need a real hotel, a resort hotel, in order order to
Yes.
call yourself a resort.
So until they do that, I just always laugh at the name. I'm sorry. I think the whole name is a fail. I don't think that was correct.
Mike's saying in the chat that even if they had the big wheel open, they're only using 4 cars out of 40. Nobody knows how to run it. Nobody knows how to run it.
Yeah, bingo. So Coverly, that's because no motherfuckers there know how to balance the goddamn thing. That's all.
They did bring back the 6 cars per section because for the longest time they only had 5 cars per section.
It looks like a full wheel now. Yeah, it looks like a full. It is.
We said it open with no lights.
No, it did. That's what we were talking about. When we were at Fright Fest, it was open. Well, it wasn't open all season.
I mean,
because there was a good portion.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it was open when we went there for Fright Fest, and we got there right as it was going dark, and you couldn't even see the ride anymore because it didn't have any lights. It was operating, but it's like, and all I could think of is how many babies are being made right now because nobody can see anybody else in a car.
Or the Halloween theming, no lights. It's scarier.
Oh, our friend Dennis just posted funding got pulled for the hotel. I heard it's no longer happening. So that would make a lot of sense right now. That would, and with their their streamlining of money, but the problem is this. Oh my God! I hope that's not true. I hope
they've only been talking about building the resort hotel for what, like 30 years?
30 fucking years, man! They've been trying to do this, and they're finally there. And if they pull it, it's like it's not a step back; it's like 100 steps back.
Why don't they just use the trailer park that they put into the softball field for the H1C? They call that a resort.
Like a glamping area.
Little pop-up pool.
Private entrance, the employee entrance to go in and out.
I heard that's the brothel for next year, so they can't take that down.
So that's the Amsterdam area, right? That's the
I didn't say that. You said that. I didn't say that.
Remember when they were going to get a baseball stadium?
What's that?
Remember when they were supposed to get a baseball stadium?
Yes!
Have a minor league
exactly.
team there?
It's like, I don't know.
All coming soon with the Flash.
I mean, I don't know. I look, this is just my opinion. That's pretty much a recap of all the 50th crap. It's funny because I'm not the only one. New Jersey 101.5, which you kind of got to take all their articles with a grain of salt because they seem to like to just put rumor shit up there for clickbait more often than not. But they did a recap, and it's pretty close to what I didn't even see it until last night. And because I thought about after writing my notes, like, what do other people think? Like were there any articles up? And I found their article, and I was dying because it was like literally 70% of it is exactly what I wrote and what we just talked about. It was almost to the T. So I was like, oh, all right, well, there you go.
Frightfest was a little better this year than last.
So not perfect. Look at you with the segue. Look at Scott getting good at this shit. Look at it. Were you looking at my note? Were you looking at my notes? So let's jump into Fright Fest. So me and Scotty and Scotty's kid, who, by the way, is the perfect person to go to Fright Fest stuff with because she's right around the 18-year age, but she's scared of things, but she's not scared to go on them. So she's that person that won't walk in front when you go into mazes, but loves the mazes.
And then Steve's telling every ghoul in there.
Oh, I'm totally doing this. If you walk in front of me and you're afraid, you're fucked because I'm just pointing in your head, and they know who to go for, So, but first of all, their advertisement started out so great because they put out Six Flags Fright Fest Extreme, and this was the first advertisement they put up. It was like a meme, and it said, Q. Will the park offer no booze, no scare bracelets, necklaces, and can I wear a costume? Answer, no. Six Flags Great Adventures Fright Fest Extreme is recommended for ages 13 plus, and no mercy is given after 6 p.m. Costumes are not permitted. I was like, that's so great, man. You're bluntly saying we're going to scare the shit out of you, and we're not giving you no fucking little, don't scare me bracelets. None of that. You're getting scared. Don't go on the ride. Don't go into mazes if you don't want to be scared. Loved it. Now, that being said, they were supposed to open for Fright Fest the first 2 weekends. Well, I guess second 2 weekends. Around the 13th of September, they were supposed to open. Yeah, that didn't happen. So people were going there for the first 2 weekends and thinking they were going to go to Frightfest, and Frightfest just wasn't happening. They didn't have anything in the park. They were like, no pumpkins out, no bales, no nothing, and no mazes were open, and they had already advertised it for like a good 3 or 4 months. So people were seriously pissed off, like really, really pissed off. Then to top it off, they started out by getting greedy as fuck and saying, we kick everybody out at right at the 6 o'clock march. Everybody has to leave the park, and you have to have a separate admission for Fright Fest this year. That shit lasted maybe the same amount of time as that preview week that they changed their name to because they weren't prepared to open anything, and went away pretty quick because people were like, you're out of your fucking mind. We're not paying twice. And also, got to be a nightmare for a park. I also try to think of this logistically. How do you clear everybody out when you have no staffing at 6 o'clock? And then you have no staffing. So we already see the lines, how hard it is to get in the park. How do you do that and then get them all back in?
It's easy, man. They just use the same method that they used on speedy parking.
No shit. No shit. There are a lot of people that went those first 2 weekends that were pretty pissed off. And then they what they did is they tried to start opening mazes as they could. So they opened like 1 or 2 mazes during that time, but it wasn't good. Then they finally released like an email out to everybody, and they said Fright Fest Extreme preview weekend, September 13th to September 15th. And it says circumstances this weekend will be opening Fright Fest Extreme as a preview event only. And then it goes on to say, guess we'll be able to experience our frightful shows, rides in the dark, spooky scare zones, and some of our haunted mazes. If I'm reading everybody right, bullshit. They didn't open any of them that first weekend. The next weekend, they opened 2 of them. Then the following weekend, they were fully ready to open everything.
Somebody discussed it about the chaperones required, too.
That's where I'm going. So here's the other thing. When we talk about kicking people out of the park and bringing them back in, our first impression is they now have the chaperone policy, okay? So the chaperone policy, which I give them credit, they did send it out to everybody, okay?
And at least when we went earlier in the season, they were enforcing it, right?
They were.
I thought they were at the end.
No, they were, and they definitely were at the end. Yeah. Oh, they were that day that we went. That's why the line was so fucking long to get in when you guys were getting there, like, because they were. So their chaperone policy is, again, guests ages 15 years or younger must be accompanied by a chaperone who's at least 21 years old or older to be admitted. Policy be in effect daily by 5 p.m. local time. Six Flags reserves the right to begin enforcing chaperone policy earlier if they want. So basically, they don't do it during the day, but come 5 o'clock, they do it because they don't want the shit going on at night with a bunch of random kids. So they did stick to it. And I will tell you, it was a clusterfuck. And it got worse during Fright Fest because there were a lot of people that posted those first 3 weekends. I went and I saw the line to the gate was 2 hours to get into the park. And I left. And I'm like, whoa, we didn't experience that. I don't know how long you guys waited.
Not long.
I was 10 minutes tops and I was in. And we were there the official first weekend that they actually had everything open.
And they were grabbing the kids that were under and they were putting them to the side and having them wait.
Yeah, it is kind of fun, though, because it does feel like you're in a little bit of a concentration camp situation because they literally have like 4 guards in a line who go, where's your parent? Where's your parent? And if they don't answer, they go over there, over there. And you just get put into this little area and you have to stand there like an asshole until you have a parent. And if you don't have a parent, you might as well just go away because they're not letting you in. And you just sit there. It's kind of crazy, man. Like, I was like, holy shit. Now you tie that into trying to kick people out and then go through all that again as you're going in. No fucking way. It's never going to work. So they did get rid of that whole separate ticket eventing thing. They must have realized it was really stupid. However, what's really funny is people who wrote them and said, what's the deal for next year? They've already said, we don't know. We might still be doing it. So again, they might be greedy and try it again for next year, but who cares? We'll see what happens then. I will say one thing that made me laugh is that because they no longer were making it a separate event, okay, but they still charge for you to go into mazes. The mazes are still extra. Even when you go to Fright Fest, you don't get the wristband. You have to get a wristband to get in. So now you can get the fast pass for the mazes, right? And so as a diamond person, they gave me it for free. I got it. It just popped up in my app and they said, and I got an email and it said, hey, important update regarding your benefits. It said Frightfest at Frightfest Extreme at Six Flags will no longer require a separate ticket. It's included in 2025 Golden Prestige passes. Since you purchased your pass prior to this and you have a diamond, actually, they told me at the time I have a Prestige pass. We're pleased to give you a free single-day Express Haunted Maze at no cost. And they did. It was great. I used it. Now, here's the shitty thing. To get it to work, I had to actually go to guest relations and have them add it to my thing and give me the wristband, which they did. No hassle, no problem. Took me 5 minutes. Sucker here didn't have that pass, so he had to pay. And I want to say it was $80.
It was right around there, a little more.
So here's the fucked up thing. He had to pay $80 a piece for him and his kid to get the express pass. But we didn't realize, and I did know it, and I mentioned it to him, but we weren't going to try it that day. Do you know that they do the VIP tours still, but they do a version called the RIP tour for Fright Fest?
Yeah.
Now, here's the fucking crazy thing. The little Chinese noodle place that they have right next to Skull Mountain, okay, that place becomes a special buffet, and it is loaded with food, loaded with desserts, loaded with drinks,
and nobody in there.
And it's only for the people that do the RIP tour. The RIP tour gives you a guided tour. The person is with you for, I believe, 3 hours. I have the breakdown here, but I think they're with you for 3 hours. Okay. And let's see. This thing is insane. Here it is. Access to the exclusive RIP lounge, which has a buffet meal, unlimited soft drinks. It's located near Skull Mountain. They also have adult beverages in there, but you do have to pay for the adult beverages. You get a VIP tour with guide with express access to all haunted attractions. That person will be with you for 90 minutes, okay, approximately 90 minutes, and you get reserved seating to all of the shows, Dead Man's Party and Unleashed. That's $100 for $20 more.
Yeah,
Scott could have had him and his kid could have had all you can eat. And here's the fucked up thing. This is where we regretted it. We got the express pass, and I'm going to be blunt. It was fine for us. The night we went, we actually got on every single one of the mazes without a problem. I think the longest we waited was maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 minutes on one. However, if you had that RIP tour, they actually walk them right to the front of the express line, and they go on immediately. So on the 90 minutes, there's a couple of people that posted that they went to it. I'm not going to bother reading the reviews because we don't have a lot of time left. But they basically were – the person would be like, you want to go on again? You want to go on again? You want to go on again? They went through some of the haunted mazes like 7 times. Then they went over and they said they ate until they were about to puke. And then one of the ladies even goes, you still have me for 30 minutes. You want to go on any rides? And walked them up the exits of rides.
Yeah, that would definitely have been
for $100 for it. And we were going to do it. We were thinking about it, but because this is the thing. I didn't mention it to him. I'm a dick. I didn't mention it to him until after because I already had my free express pass and I wanted to use it. And I was like, I told him, I go, hey, my fault you don't have an express pass. That's your fault, you know? But then I'm regretting it because I'm like, I would have paid for it and just gone another weekend and used the express pass that weekend. You know what I mean? Like, so next year, if they do that, I'm definitely doing it because it's worth it. It's just completely worth it.
All you can eat food. That's like 30 or 40 bucks.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Here's what the one guy says, man. He's like, there are burgers, shrimp, chicken skewers, chicken fingers, rice, tons of desserts, churros, brownies, cookies. There's everything you can imagine a drink that the park has to offer. And if I was a booze drinker, I could have bought it all. That right there sold me, man. I'm a fat kid. I want the food, you know?
Nice.
And then I will finish off with, we did do the Oktoberfest. We already gave our review. All right.
Well, what was the best house? What was the best haunted house?
All right. So the houses they had Stranger Things. That was decent. We liked it. Stranger Things had a lot of Stranger Things theming.
That was cool.
The problem with them is that, what's the main bad guy's name?
In the last
Invecta?
season, that was like...
Yeah, Invecta, I think.
Yeah,
Invecta, Trivecta, something like that. So it's the guy who turns into the big demon-like creature is the big bad in the last season, right? They spent the money to get the life-size, giant size, like 16 feet version of that guy, right? But they didn't theme anything around it. So they literally, it's like they bought the version from the company, and you could see all the hydraulics and the metal base and everything. They didn't bother just covering it with anything.
I was going to say they had one at Horror Nights in Universal. I'm guessing they probably just rented the same one. But yes,
they rented it. You might be right. Maybe they did rent it.
You don't see all that.
That's my point. Six Flags didn't make any attempt to cover it up. So while they had a bunch of, and they had some like the Demon Dogs and like the Demo Dogs and all that. Yeah. But again, you could see the bottoms. And they didn't make any attempt to cover it. They had decent actors in it. That one was good. Saw was horrible last year. It was my least favorite of last year.
And we waited forever.
And we waited forever, and it was garbage. This year, it was a little bit better. They put a little more money into it, but actually it was better because they had, I think, better actors this time.
It was okay. It wasn't bad.
Okay.
We didn't wait anywhere near as long.
No, well, we didn't wait on anything longer than 10 minutes, and most of them we got right in. So it was actually a perfect day for the Express Pass. Witch's Reflection is the Mirror Maze one that's right near the big wheel. I mean, it's just a mirror maze. It doesn't matter, but it's always fun. The mirror mazes are always fun. Yeah. You know, his kid didn't really know the trick yet of looking at the floor, and you can easily see where the fuck to go. So she was kind of bumping into shit. I was trying not to cheat and look at the floor, so I was bumping into shit. So we had a good time. That was kind of fun. Nice. I will say it's better for Holiday in a Park because all they do is they put a couple scare people in there for the the Witch's Reflections, but in Holiday in a Park, they put an elf DJ in there. And as you're going through it, the Christmas music's playing, and it's a DJ, and it's a little elf DJ. You don't realize it until you get to the end. There is a live elf DJ in there. That's pretty badass. This year, what they really did is they tried to do the Universal thing. They spent a lot of their money on theming. So they had a Trick or Treat one, and that's based on the movie Trick or Treat with the little Sam guy. Okay, that was good. It had enough theming again that it was fine. It had enough people in it that it worked. They had a Conjuring one, and just like last year, that was probably maybe the best one. Yeah. They are the Conjuring one. They do so good. Like the moment you walk in, there's an Annabelle there, and they're all actual.
The same place too.
It was the same place, and the props are really well done. Like they get a lot of the props from the movies, and they do cover it in that one like they're supposed to. Like you feel like you're walking in like a seance room and shit like that. Those were really well done.
I swear I'm not shitting on them. I swear I'm not. These are all prior Universal ones.
100%.
Great move. I think it's a great move. 100%. They probably get a discount. You rent them 2-3 years later, and now you got the same thing they got. You know,
absolutely. I realized it too. However, I'm not going to shit on them either because at the end of the day, if they keep improving every year, it's worth it for them, right?
Well, who gets to go? Like I go a lot, but it's hard to do. It's all the way in Orlando, you know. So
what imagine they ever get to the point where they're like just a little less good than like Universal's, like Horror Nights or whatever? That would be amazing.
Hell yeah, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah. The only other ones they had were 3 more. They had the Asylum, which is always fine. It's like crazy people in a haunted like hospital. I think they had it last year too. It's fine. It's staffed well, and the actors are pretty good. So then they had probably the 2 worst ones. And they had the Big Top Terror, which is the clown one. That's over near the 410s near Game Square. That one they had last year too. That one's a 3D one where you actually put 3D glasses on. That one's great. The clown people are always good. The 3D's kind of cool. That one's great.
That was the one where that dude had the head and he was like throwing.
Yeah. He has a head that's like a yo-yo, and he can toss it, and he actually gets it like an inch from your freaking face. But he manages to pull it away and not hit you. The guy's very good, actually. Wow. Although I'm sure he's probably hit a couple people. But the 2 that they had that they were new for this year that were actually probably pretty expensive to get that were not good. They had a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. How do you fuck that up? You know how you put it near Western in an open area instead of a building where you could put it in a building with people on meat hooks right out of the movie? None of that.
Aspect to it.
Yeah, all they basically had was like some dead pigs on the meat hooks were absolutely reused from last year's, not from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They had a bunch of cheesy leather faces that walked around with the fake chainsaws, like 3 or 4. And it's like, I mean, first of all, right there, you're already like, I just saw you. So how many of you are there? Like, there shouldn't be more than one of you, you know? That was not well done. And the worst one they had was In the Right Stuff, and it was Army of the Dead, the goddamn movie from Netflix, which, how do you fuck that up? It's just
zombies.
Zombies in it, right?
Yeah.
For Army of the Dead, it had 2 dead. That is not a fucking army. It had 2 zombies in it, man. 2 zombies.
It's a tag team.
On opening night. How do you have 2 zombies in Army of the Dead on opening night? It was like, and we weren't there at like lunchtime or dinner time. Like, it was just bullshit, man.
They're breathing heavy because they got to run up to the next part. Yeah. Why are the zombies winded?
He's like, because I was just Leatherface 5 minutes ago, fucker. You know? I didn't run the Western, damn it. Oh man. I mean, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, overall, so here's what I'll say: they had a lot of people walking around. When we went, they had atmosphere characters out the ass.
The scare zones were cool.
So they did mini scare zones. They're trying to do what Universal did, but Universal does it, and it's probably every scare zone there is like the length of the entire game square for us, right? That's not what GA did. GA did scare zones that are only about 8 feet to 10 feet long, but they're in like little tunnels. So there's one in the middle of game square. There's one next right leading up the big wheel in one of the little garden paths. And what they basically do is they just light it like metal over it. So you're forced to go through a tunnel, and they shoot the shit out of fog machines, and they load it with 3 or 4 people that'll have like machetes or chainsaws. And I will say those were effective because the people that were in there did a great job. And because the fog was so thick, you couldn't actually always see them. Yeah. So even though you're only going through an 8-foot area, I cannot tell you how many teenagers were trying to get out and walk around it. And they were catching them as they were getting out and scaring them there too. So they were pretty effective. They did a good job if they expand on those, they can get them as good as Universal. They started out very good on the scare zones. Again, ton of atmosphere characters. They had a decent amount of shows. They had a band playing right at the the blood fountain, the main fountain in the the front of the park. They still had the one show over in where the Chinese acrobats were near Frightfest. They had one there. They have a whole show, like a Jim Rose type of freak show that's right in Game Square. That was pretty cool. They have another show that I think is like Banjo People or something, but it was right behind right where Dream Street Cables would be. It's right behind there. So they had a decent amount of shows. I give them that. When we went, the park looked pretty good, but I heard during the 2 original preview weekends when it was supposed to open and it kind of didn't, that basically they were putting everything up during those weeks. So those first 2 weekends, there wasn't shit out. People were constantly saying there was nothing there, but there was a decent amount when we were there. So that was kind of cool. Overall, I mean, I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
I as much as we want to shit about the mazes, the mazes were a large improvement over last year. And we all said as we walked out, did we have a good time? We did. I mean, we did. Even though I was pissed off about my food selections, I still had good potato pancakes. So it's I want to bitch about this because they didn't give me what I thought I was going to get. But on the other hand, what I got, I liked. So I guess it was good, So, yeah, I can't really complain about that. I will say this, though. One sign that's never good. So, all right, we got Chris, we're going to go 5 minutes long. Hope you don't hate us. So let's knock out some news real fast. So one thing that made me laugh is that if you go on Groupon right now, Holiday in a Park is on Groupon for a great adventure, 72% off tickets. Whoa, that's not a good sign. Now, I know that they have put Holiday in a Park on Groupon in the past. I've absolutely seen it, but I've never seen it at 72%. I'm like, that's fucking wacky. That's literally getting just letting them go in free. Little weird. Yeah. Couple of things that we saw. Epic Universe. We never really get to talk about enough, but we want to. So Epic Universe is going to have Helios, the Dark Universe, Super Nintendo World, Celestial Park, the How to Ride a Dragon, and another Wizarding World of Harry Potter. This will be the Ministry of Magic. So stuff keeps getting released slowly. The stuff I've been focusing on, I think you're more focused probably, Chris, on Helios and stuff because I think that's where you want to stay. Stuff I focus on, I'm a big monster guy. So
it's all about the dark. Can't
for
wait.
me, that whole fucking Dark Universe park is what I am focusing on. If anyone is interested in Universal Monsters or that park, keep looking at the news because they've already showed what Frankenstein's castle looks like from the outside. It is a life-size Frankenstein's castle right out of the movie. Fucking unbelievable. They've already said
the windmill, dude. The windmill.
It's insane. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
They've already announced that the queue lines for the Frankenstein experiment ride and for probably one of the other rides are all gonna have jump scares. So they're going to have actors in the queue lines jumping out at you, which means that the queue lines must be like dark labyrinths and shit. Yeah. That's pretty cool. The Phantom of the Opera, the Creature from the Black Lagoon will also be there for meet and greets. And then they will also have for meet and greets, Dracula, Igor, Frankenstein's Monster, Bride of Frankenstein, Invisible Man, and Wolfman. They will all be walking around the park where you can do meet and greets.
Invisible Man, I want to see how that one goes.
The mummy wrap. They'll have the mummy wrap. They'll have the mummy wrap and the glasses on. However, hold on. If they do a hologram thing where he could take the wrap off and you don't see anything but a hollow inside, you know it'll blow people's fucking mind. And they could probably do that now because there's definitely mass technology that could do it.
Yo, the restaurant, man. Steaks on steaks. I got to go there.
Dude, I know, man. Everything just sounds fucking amazing about it. The other thing, Universal, man, not letting those monsters go. The other thing they did is they announced that they are doing in Vegas a full, they're turning this whole thing into a massive Horror Unleashed venue, but it's not just going to be that. It's basically they're taking a whole entire industrial zone. It's like this massive warehouse, and they're turning it into a 24/7 theme park that they're going to have there year round. And this is what blew my mind. Yes, they're going to have the Universal Horror Unleashed, which sounds very much like the Dark Universe, okay? But they're also going to have a fucking John Wick theme park. John Wick, man. I want to be an assassin. I want to go around. I'm going to kill you, Andy. I'm going to get you, man. You know, like, that's insane. I don't even know how you would do that, but the whole idea that they're trying to do a John Wick park, and if I get to walk around with a cute-ass dog, I'm in. All right, I'm already in. You know, you got me. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, Area 15 was badass. I went there when I went to Vegas, and Universal wasn't there yet, but I believe that's where they're putting it. I can't wait.
I think that's exactly where they're putting it. They're saying that they're going to have some of the ones that they're going to be in their horror park are going to be Universal Monsters, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scarecrow the Reaping, Blumhouse's The Exorcist, The Believer, and maybe a few more. Those are ones that they're looking to try to have as like permanent things in that park. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. I don't know if you guys knew this. I've always been bummed that Jaws is gone. I love Jaws. It just made me. I used to ride that ride all the time. It's not gone. Did you guys know if you go to the Japan Universal Studios, they have the same ride? Yeah. It still lives in the Japan Universal Studios. So that kind of warmed my heart. I love that. I love that ride. I want to be able to ride it again, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Cedar Point, if you look, they're doing this insane tilt coaster. If you are interested in, if you don't even know what a tilt coaster is, I would say look up Cedar Point's new tilt coaster. It's called Siren's Curse. The video for that ride is fucking mind blowing. It's really, really cool. So that's something that I think is kind of neat in the news. There is a company called Gooclo, Gooclo. You can bring up their website. It's gooclo.com. And what they do is they have a section where you can buy all old theme park, amusement park shirts. They have original Astro World USA. They have Action Park. They have Marine World, Africa USA. They have Opryland. They have Rocky Point. All those old parks, a lot of them don't even exist anymore, like Action Park. They have their original shirts, and they are actually reproducing their shirts. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then let's see. I will leave you with this. This is something that just is freaking me out, and I don't know if you guys experience this. You know how we talk about when you talk, your cell phone always hears it. Doesn't matter how you try to silence it, your cell phone hears it. So we're talking now for an hour and a half about theme parks. I log into Facebook after this call. I guarantee there's going to be nothing but theme park shit in my goddamn feed, right?
Yep.
So you know how on Facebook there is always a line for Reels? I don't watch Reels. I've never clicked on one in my life in the entire time I've been on Facebook because to me it's like TikTok. It's like a little mini version of YouTube. I don't need to watch that. I don't care, right? However, somehow the Facebook algorithm keeps trying to put stuff on the Reels, and if you scroll across them, you know, they're like little clips of videos that they think they know who you are. They do. You know why? Because they know I like boobs, and they know I like amusement park rides. And you know why I'm saying that? If you're looking at video, you can see what I'm looking at. This has been appearing in my Reels, and it is different girls. And it is like every day for about a month and a half now. And there's at least 3 on every single time and if you keep scrolling up, it'll bring another set of Reels up. There's 3. All it is girl. And it's never guys. It's only girls. It's girls that look like their boobs are going to fall out of their top because of the way the harness is. And they're on like a free fall type ride. And I'm like, I've never said I like boobs falling out of harnesses, or how does it know that?
Yeah, I
But
think
it's
that
right.
just goes
It's always there.
You're a guy. I mean,
Exactly.
you have credit there.
I'm pretty
Every
sure.
guy likes boobs.
But no.
guy
But
getting
this is
those
the thing. It
reels.
tied it into something it knows I like, which is theme parks and rides. Because it is. I can. We'll do a test. Hold on, Scott.
We find it together.
We'll do a test. Hold on. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll down, see if I can bring reels up. Okay. Reels.
Yeah, it's a lot of boob stuff there,
Boom!
Steve.
Boom! Third one. What is it?
I don't have that much boob stuff in my reels.
It's all boobs. The last one more boobs are falling out of legs.
The last one was Tyson, though.
Well, that's because I saw the Tyson fight for 4.5 fucking hours for that disappointing ending. Okay, but it's not,
all the other fights were amazing. The Tyson fight you knew was going to be crap.
Gangbusters, except poor ending. But it was gangbusters, man. But did I not? Immediately one comes up though. I'm like, I showed my girlfriend. I'm like, I swear to God, I'm not doing a search for this. I don't know how this is coming up all the time, but I'm like, it knows me. I just had to point it out. I'm like, do you guys have that? Like, because it's just me. Andy's not saying anything. I have a feeling all Andy's reels are boobs chicks coming out of coaster stuff.
I don't have that. I don't do reels.
That's what's so fucked up, though. I don't either, and the algorithm's still trying to target me. I guess it just figures someday I'll click on them, you know? So, I don't know. Anyway, too funny.
Nice.
Hopefully, Holiday in the Park opens November 23rd, January 1st. So, hopefully, me and Scotty will get to go there, and hopefully some guy named Peluso might be able to make it out, you know? We'll see. We'll see.
So that's this weekend they open, I guess.
Yeah, they're opening. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So with that, fellas, we are a little over our time. So as always, a lot of fun with you guys. Time always seems to go too goddamn quick. Thanks to everyone who's joined us and Facebook on the chat that's listened to us live. Everybody that's listened to the audio version, thank you as well. And so signing off for now, I am Steve Hicks, and my co-hosts are
Scott Loudon,
Chris Peluso,
Andy Auletti.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Make it a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.